Welcome to the deep dive. Really glad you could join us. Today, we're jumping into something absolutely essential for community-based organizations, CBOs, capacity strengthening. And we're getting even more specific today. We're zooming in on one really critical piece, safety and security. Now, the material we're using for this deep dive, it's fantastic stuff. Excerpts we received focusing right on this topic for CBOs, and we really want to credit the source here. This valuable information comes directly from the Southern Africa Litigation Centre, SALC. So our mission today is pretty straightforward. Let's quickly unpack the essentials of safety and security risk assessment. What does it mean for CBO staff, for members? We're pulling out the key practical bits straight from this SALC material. Think of it like getting the actionable knowledge you need right from the experts. Okay, so let's start there. This idea, safety and security risk assessment in the CBO world, what exactly is that according to this source?
Right. So the SALC material describes it as a structured process. It's fundamentally about finding and looking at potential dangers, hazards, things that could potentially harm the well-being, the protection of people connected to the organization.
Staff, volunteers.
Exactly. Staff, volunteers, members, anyone associated. And it means systematically reviewing, well, pretty much everything, different areas, activities the CBO is involved in, looking for those potential risks that might compromise safety or security. It's really about trying to get ahead of issues, being proactive.
Proactive makes a lot of sense, especially when safety is involved. But, CBOs often run on tight resources. Why is it so crucial to carve out time for this? This is where the SALC material gets really compelling, listing some very concrete reasons.
Yeah, it absolutely does. And the number one reason, they state it clearly, is employee safety. Simple as that. Protecting the people doing the work. That's paramount, legally and ethically.
Okay, fundamental. What else?
Well, beyond that, doing this assessment helps demonstrate legal compliance. It shows you're taking reasonable steps, due diligence, for a safe environment. It's also vital for emergency preparedness. If you've thought about risks beforehand, fire, security incident, whatever, you're better placed to handle it when something unexpected does happen.
Right, so you're not caught completely off guard.
Exactly. And that connects directly to what they call business continuity. For a CBO, any disruption, think about an office break-in, maybe a data breach with sensitive info, or an incident affecting key staff. It can really stop you in your tracks.
Yeah, it could halt your programs, affect funding.
Precisely. It impacts your whole mission. And interestingly, the source also points to cost savings.
Cost savings? How so?
Well, it takes effort up front, sure.
Yeah.
But preventing accidents, theft, security breaches, that saves potential costs down the line. Things like property damage, maybe legal fees, medical bills, even just lost productivity.
Okay, that reframes it. It's not just a cost center, it's an investment.
It's an investment in protecting people, yes.
Yeah.
But also in the CBO's ability to just function, to keep doing its work effectively and sustainably.
That makes a lot of sense. So knowing why is key. Now, you mentioned potential dangers. What kind of specific risks does the material highlight for CBOs? Any examples?
Yeah, the SALC material gives some very practical examples relevant to CBOs. Workplace violence is one, and that's not just physical assault. It includes threats, harassment, and importantly, it can come from different places. Coworkers, clients, even external visitors.
Okay, it's broad.
It is. Then there are, the more tangible things like theft and property damage. Damage to the CBO's actual stuff. Unauthorized access is another big one they flag. That could be someone physically getting into places they shouldn't.
Like a restricted office area?
Right. Or, and this is crucial now, unauthorized access to digital information, confidential data. That's a major vulnerability today.
Absolutely. What else?
Travel-related risks. Which makes sense, right? Many CBO staff or volunteers are out in the field visiting communities.
Moving around a lot.
Exactly. So that covers things like road accidents, maybe navigating unfamiliar or potentially unsafe areas. Or even risks tied to, say, political instability in regions where they work. Geopolitical risks.
Okay.
And this one's important. The source specifically includes workplace stress and mental health risks.
That's interesting. Not always the first thing under a security heading.
No, but they point out things like excessive workload, crazy deadlines, maybe a lack of support, or even a hostile work environment. These are real hazards. They impact staff well-being, which impacts the organization. It's significant they emphasize this.
Wow. Okay. That's really comprehensive. Physical, digital, even psychological safety. So we know what it is, why it matters, the kinds of risks. How does a CBO actually do this assessment? What are the steps involved according to the SALC material?
The source lays out a pretty clear step-by-step process. It starts, logically, with identifying potential risks. So you systematically look at everything, your physical space, your activities, your programs, how you operate, and definitely including your digital side.
Yeah.
Cybersecurity. Where could things go wrong?
Okay, map out the danger zones. Then what?
Then you evaluate vulnerability, basically asking, where are we, or are people, most exposed? What assets, what individuals are susceptible to these identified threats?
Right. Where are the weak spots?
Exactly. After that, you figure out the likelihood and the impact. How likely is this specific risk to actually happen? And if it does happen, how bad would it be? Minor issue, major disaster, serious harm.
So you weigh them up?
You do. And based on that, weighing the likelihood and the potential impact you prioritize, you can't fix everything at once. So you focus your energy, your resources on the risks that are most probable and would cause the most damage. The critical ones first.
Makes sense. Focus efforts where they count most.
Then, before you jump to solutions, you look at what you're already doing. Evaluate existing security measures. What policies, procedures, maybe physical guards or locks. What do you have now? And crucially, are they actually working against the risks you identified?
Okay. Don't reinvent the wheel if something's already effective.
All right. Then comes developing risk mitigation strategies. This is the planning part. How are we going to reduce the chance of this risk happening or lessen its impact if it does? Could be new procedures, maybe training, security upgrades, changing a policy.
Concrete actions.
Concrete plans, yes.
Yeah.
And once you have those plans, you implement and monitor them, put them into action. And this is key check if they're actually working. Are things safer? Is the measure effective?
So follow through and checking.
Absolutely. And the final really crucial step the material emphasizes is periodic reviews and updates. Risks aren't static, right? They change. Your CBO's work changes, the environment changes, technology changes.
So it's not a one-and-done thing.
Definitely not. It has to be ongoing. You need to revisit the assessment regularly. The source also mentions that having a formal policy manual helps structure all this. Documenting the purpose, scope, who does what, the assessment process itself, risk categories, mitigation strategies. It makes it repeatable, clear for everyone, provides that necessary structure.
That step-by-step guide feels really practical, especially seeing how it connects back to the why and the types of risks, gives a clear path. So let's bring it back to you, the listener. If you're involved with the CBO, what does all this mean? This SALC material, it's more than just advice, isn't it? It's like a roadmap for actively making things safer and more secure. And as the source makes clear, doing this, it's not just about ticking boxes. It's fundamentally about protecting the people doing the work, your staff, your volunteers, your members, the heart of the CBO. Just knowing the definition, understanding why it's so important for a CBO, having those examples of risks, and seeing the practical steps, that gives you a real starting point. It empowers you, really, to help build a safer environment so the CBO can focus all its energy on its crucial mission.
Exactly. And building on that point from the source about periodic reviews and the need for awareness, it really raises a key question for any CBO, doesn't it? If risks are always changing, how do you make sure safety and security isn't just, a policy sitting in a file? How does it become a living, breathing part of the culture, something that's just part of everyone's day-to-day awareness and actions?
That's a powerful question to end on. It really highlights the ongoing commitment needed. We really hope this deep dive into the Southern Africa Litigation Centre's material on safety and security risk assessment has given you some valuable, practical insights for your work. Thanks so much for joining us as we explored this vital piece of capacity strengthening for CBOs. Maybe now's a good time to think about how you can put these steps into practice.